This is every succession war prince ranked by their chances of winning the war, and of course ranked by their general princeliness. And we are commencing with first Prince Benjamin, who has an immediate unfair advantage because he was the first to be popped out of his mother's birth hole. That's very much how this whole war operates. Nothing about this is balanced. And the older the sibling is, the more resources they have to do the winning with. Benjamin's resources include his own private military, and in fact he is the deputy advisor to the entire Kakhin military in general. He also has a ridiculous advantage when it comes to Nen, mostly being that he can actually use it, unlike the majority of the other princes. Not only that, but Benjamin is like a Nen tampon designed to absorb the abilities of everyone around him, very much like a budget Chrollo Lucifer. His ultimate goal after becoming king is, checks notes, world domination, or in his own words, the unification of the world under the Kakhin Empire. So Benjamin's victory means world war. He's already formidable, and that's not even including the Guardian Spirit Beast that we have yet to learn anything about. So Benjamin is kicking things off as an S-tier prince. Our next candidate is second Prince Camilla, boasting a Nen ability that prevents her from getting kill-murdered. Not only that, but it's kind of like an Uno reverse card. You know, you try to murder me, no, now you're murdering you. That's how it works. I would say that Camilla's biggest issue right now is that her ability is no longer secret. Benjamin knows about it, and he was likely the only prince who would have attempted to murder Camilla with his own hands, as Benjamin did promise to break every bone in Saradnik's body with his bare hands, which is, that's charming. Camilla, very notably, is not Saradnik, and even if she were, I think that Benjamin would be having some second thoughts after figuring her ability out. And you know, that's just the big issue with Nen combat. Once your ability is known, you're probably done. Camilla's biggest advantage right now is having control of the Have-Nots, a lower caste of the Kakhin Empire who hold such a strong grudge that they've evolved into a legion of Nen curse assassins. Pretty amazing stuff, but Camilla is also not the most strategically sound of all of the siblings. And so powersome as she may be, I think the A tier is appropriate, if not maybe a bit generous. To third Prince Zhang-Lei, and this is where things get immediately unfair, because the third prince onwards had no knowledge of Nen until the succession war actually began, which is kind of like agreeing to fight a war without knowing what a weapon is. Zhang-Lei has a fun quote though: "A true king makes use of both light and dark sides of society." He is outwardly responsible, if maybe a bit too indulgent, but of the three, he would certainly make the best king so far. And Zhang-Lei seems to agree, because his whole focus is on what to do after the succession war ends, which is reflected in his Guardian Spirit Beast, the ability of which is hypothesized to only activate once Zhang-Lei assumes the throne. He's incredibly intelligent, but he's looking so far ahead that he's not gonna see the knife right under his neck. He's a B-tier prince. He might be a great leader for Kakhin during peacetime, but I highly doubt his ability to survive during wartime. Onwards to number 4, and look, I don't know what to say about Saradnik that I haven't said ad nauseum in every other video, except for this. What it comes down to with the fourth prince is talent. And I hate the word talent, like really hate it. I think it gets used too commonly, and it often disregards the thousands and thousands of hours that artists and musicians just pump into mastering their craft. But every now and then there is a rare artist who can only be described as gifted, managing to reach higher peaks in a fraction of those hours, and that man is Saradnik. Right now, Saradnik is not the strongest, not the smartest, and he doesn't have the biggest network of all of the people. Right now, he could be killed. However, that chance slips more and more out of reach with every minute that he is left alone to study Nen. If this man is allowed to live for even another week, he may very well become the most powerful Aura user aboard the ship, and that includes the likes of Chrollo, Hisoka, Kurapika, the Zodiacs, and even beyond Netero. Because even Beyond's father, Isaac Netero, was not as talented as Saradnik. Isaac Netero is an example of what I said before, a man who sunk hundreds of thousands of hours into becoming the aura monster that he was. But Saradnik is a man who doesn't need years, he needs days. Right now, he's a clear S-tier prince, but if he were to live just a little bit too long, then we would have to open up a brand new tier above that to place him into. But taking a big step down now, we have fifth Prince Tebepa, and this is where our chasm of general unfairness grows ever wider. Tebepa is the first prince we've encountered that doesn't have control of her own extended forces, no military, no have-nots, and no mafia connections. And that's because Tebepa's priority is science, glorious, glorious science. And she has rather harsh views towards her older siblings, believing that each and every one of them is a cancerous prince-shaped tumor that needs to be immediately purged from the Kakhin Empire. Meanwhile, all of her younger siblings, well, they just need a good education and they will be on the right path. In all fairness, Tebepa would probably make the best king so far, because she's the first that has some degree of empathy and would definitely lead Kakhin into a science boom. But she is very out of her league here with little knowledge and even interest in learning about Nen, combined with some very underwhelming bodyguards. And the only reason why she isn't a C or even D tier prince is because she has made an alliance with Saradnik, which alone elevates Tebepa into the B tier. But will 6th Prince Tyson fare any better? Well, Tyson is a cult leader who believes that she will win the war through the power of love. So probably not. Tyson genuinely despises violence of any kind and refuses to engage in it. A very problematic stance when it comes to the concept of war. However, with that said, Tyson does have a win condition. The thing about Tyson is that she is genuinely charming and even cute. If you spend enough time with her, you will be won over. Which plays very nicely into her guardian spirit beast, who infects those who encounter Tyson's teachings with literal happiness. So it becomes like a drug. The more you invest yourself into the cult of Tyson, the happier you feel. And given enough time, that happiness would spread and eventually control everyone. But Tyson does not have that time. Given that her whole strategy is sit and wait, it's much more likely that another, much more active prince will snowball and engulf her. Also, Tyson does have a distinct weakness for handsome men, meaning that all it really takes is a strapping six-packed assassin to stroll on in, and Tyson is in, a less than great situation. A situation of death, and that's why Tyson probably has the worst chance of any prince so far, and so she is going straight into the D tier. And that brings us to 7th Prince Luzurus, the man who all of the other princes assume has the worst chances of winning. Yes, even more so than the literal baby. However, Luzurus is something of an enigmatic question mark. His guardian spirit beast very strongly hints towards deception, as if embodying the idea that Luzurus appears to be what you want him to be. So in Saraidnik's case, that would be a complete and utter moron because he has a superiority complex, to put it kindly. Meanwhile, in Basho's case, Luzurus appears to be a generous philanthropist, keen on helping the world. But also in the case of the mafia family that Luzurus funds, he would appear to be a ruthless underworld boss. One point against him is that of all of the cognitively aware princes, Luzurus is the one who shows absolutely no interest in learning Nen, like none whatsoever. But then again, is that also just deception? Maybe he's already an experienced Nen user and just pretends to be ignorant. Basically, he's a complete coin flip. Luzurus could be one of the strongest contenders, he could also very easily be one of the weakest, or just simply mid. And to average everything out, I think we need to place him in the B tier. To the rotund 8th prince now, we find Saleh Saleh, son of Queen Swinko Swinko, and never has a son looked more like his mother in the worst way possible. Saleh Saleh took Tyson's strategy of sit and wait a little bit further because he thought, why sit when you can lie down? And so he spent his time lying in bed, likely completely unable to get up due to the critical mass of naked women piled on top of him. His stereotype is that he's the party prince and the general disappointment of the family. We all have one. Interestingly, his guardian spirit beast also functions similarly to Tyson's, except since Saleh Saleh was devoid of any charisma, the beast had to infect those around him with favorable thoughts, which they could then spread to others who came near them. And I think that if Saleh Saleh had done literally anything to defend himself, then he would have been in with a decent chance. Not good, but decent. Because I do think that this ability is just plain better than Tyson's. But he didn't, and now he's dead. Which means we need to open up a new tier of failure to plunk Saleh Saleh straight into the realm of the dead. From disappointment to overachiever, we now have 9th Prince Hulkenberg, a man who went to the most prestigious university in the world to study physics at the age of 15, and is also really good at archery. He is the most morally upstanding of all of the princes. Which is worrying because Togashi often likes to play with, flipping morality on its head, so Hulkenberg could become a pretty terrifying dude in the future. He doesn't have the talent of Saraidnik, but he does have something equally as useful, which is that he is more driven to win than any other prince, and for genuinely good reasons as well. He wants to make the world a better and more fair place. So his aura has responded to that drive and given him a Nen ability said to be invincible in one-on-one combat. Plus his spirit beast buffs his guards and his guards buff his guards, and I think that Hulkenberg now has the single greatest concentration of power in the entire war. He is easily the best candidate from the younger princes and is certainly in the S tier. However, going further down to 10th Prince Kacho, we encounter a brand new level of unfairness, because now we are dealing with literal children who have no power and no influence. Figures like Kacho strike me more as gap fillers, people who were basically born just to be corpses and sacrificed to make the Kakin Empire more powerful, or because there may be a strict numerical requirement to princes for the succession war to take place. The only thing that Kacho cares for in this world is her younger sister Fugetsu. So let's hope she has a better chance, because Kacho is well and truly out of contention due to a sudden case of death, and so lands very firmly in the dead tier. Now speaking of, Fugetsu is completely unremarkable in every way. She is a very realistic depiction of a child who has made some unwise decisions, as all children do, but in this case not hiring any hunters to protect her was a bad move. What Fugetsu does have going for her is that she inherited Kacho's spirit beast, which in combination with Fugetsu's allows her to essentially teleport wherever she pleases via this very funky door. Perfectly suited to Fugetsu because it reflects her drive to just not participate and run away. And it is difficult, but not at all impossible to catch her. Either you need to be smart enough to predict where Fugetsu will run, and again, she is a literal child, so that should well and truly be within the ability of some sort of genius level adult, or even just regular level adult. Plus, you can also stop her ability entirely by removing Kacho's Nen Beast. Fugetsu has no desire to win, even if she did, she has no win condition, and honestly, the best thing that she can hope for is survival. And in light of this, we are going to elevate Tyson to the C tier, because even though she also has a pacifist strategy, at the very least that pacifism is building towards a win, unlike Fugetsu, who is just stuck constantly running straight into a big old D tier. Now for another delightful innocent young girl, it's 12th Prince Momose. Although, is she really that innocent? I question this because her guardian spirit beast immediately launched a very aggressive campaign as soon as the war started, specifically targeting Prince Wobble, aka the baby. So I do think that says a lot about Momose's inner thoughts and feelings. This is a very tragic story though, because Momose didn't have the aura required to sustain the activities of her Nen Beast, and so it wasn't there when she needed it most, and as a result Momose is now plonked in the dead tier, sorry. Her younger brother, 13th Prince Mariam, weirdly enough has a much larger quantity of aura, despite still sleeping in a crib, able to feed this pretty damn incredible spirit beast. It might be because Mariam's beast is more defensive in nature, because generally the further you need your aura to travel, the more of it you need to invest to get there, which makes long distance aggression very taxing. Mariam is another sit and wait prince because he kind of has to be, and luckily his guardian spirit beast seems to be protecting him with a pocket dimension ability, which is going to be very difficult to infiltrate or break. Plus, Mariam has two very strong assets in his corner at the moment, which is that he is being guarded by both Hanzo and Bisky, so a combination of sneaky skills and raw power, which very much keeps him out of the D tier and gives Mariam a much more solid chance in C. And then we have the baby, 14th Prince Wobble, who not only has no concept of the war, but arguably no concept of life. Whether this war goes well or not, she will be spending most of it asleep, and while she may not yet have manifested a guardian spirit beast, she does have Kurapika, and that is extremely overpowered, and thus this baby will be sent flying straight into the A tier for protagonistic based reasons. And that is every Succession War Prince ranked.